A Mexico City taco stand operates on a specific high-speed choreography. A taquero's hands move in a blur, shaving marinated pork and catching a slice of pineapple on a warm corn tortilla in a fluid motion. But for many visitors, this is where the rhythm crashes. You arrive at the front of the line. The taquero looks at you and asks, "Genegongo, what can I get you?" And suddenly, the line stops. You might try to use textbook Spanish to ask if the tortillas are gluten-free, or if the meat is locally sourced. At a street stall, those questions don't translate, and attempting to articulate them creates an immediate dead end. While you struggle with your vocabulary, the physical pressure mounts. There are a dozen people tightly packed behind you, and your hesitation creates a backup that ripples through the sidewalk. In desperation, you might resort to pointing at the ingredients on the grill. But without naming what you're pointing at, you leave the taquero guessing, which stalls the assembly process even further. A taco stand is an ecosystem that relies entirely on a verbal rhythm. Failing to use localized phrasing breaks the machinery of the city. This flowchart maps out the exact sequence of a successful street stall visit. Notice how early the actual ordering happens, before any customization, assembly, or garnishing takes place. You need to identify specific meat fillings and quantities before you ever make eye contact. Your primary option is pastor. That's marinated pork cooked on a vertical spit called a trompo, shaved directly onto the tortilla with a piece of roasted pineapple resting at the top. If you prefer beef, go for suadero, a brisket-style cut cooked in its own fat. Or try carnitas, a rich, slow-braised pork that's ubiquitous across the city. When you place the order, drop the grammar. You don't need full sentences. The required syntax is surgical, just the quantity and the noun. Say, dos de pastor or tres de carnitas. In this environment, aiming for grammatical perfection is a liability. Precision is achieved through brevity and the use of specific local nouns. Once you state your meat, prepare for the follow-up question. Con todo? With everything? Here, everything usually implies chopped onion, cilantro, and sometimes avocado. Keep your response concise. You can say sí con todo, or defer to the vendor's preference with al gusto. If you want to leave something out, a simple sin cilantro does the job. The real test comes if you order something besides a taco. The Mexico City street quesadilla is a regional anomaly that often confuses visitors. This side-by-side graphic shows why. Unlike the flour and cheese standard you might expect elsewhere, a CDMX street quesadilla is a folded corn masa turnover. The cheese is an optional add-on that you have to explicitly ask for. Knowing to request cheese in your quesadilla proves you understand the local culinary rules. Anticipating these regional traps separates the anxious outsiders from the regulars. With the food in your hand, you step to the condiment station. You add the salsas yourself, but ask, ¿Cuál es la menos picosa? Before pouring. In this city, green salsa is often hotter than the red. Find a spot on the sidewalk or a plastic stool. Eat standing up while it's hot, and keep your phone in your pocket. Snapping photos while the taquero is trying to serve a dozen people is a breach of decorum. To close out the transaction, offer a genuine compliment. Está muy rico. Then, to settle up, simply ask ¿Cuánto le debo? To get your total. Before you hand over your cash, verify your bills. If you're carrying a 500 peso note, you need to ask ¿Tiene cambio de 500 to ensure the stall actually has the change. Navigating these stalls effectively requires more than just memorizing a vocabulary list on a screen. It takes repeated practice of these exact, high-pressure scripts until the phrasing becomes muscle memory.